What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some of the most entertaining Master League battles you'll ever see, submitted to the channel by Regalia, an up-and-coming content creator who is running Solgaleo with Solar Beam and was able to gain over 300 elo so far whilst running it. I personally didn't even know it had access to Solar Beam, so understandably most of the opponents didn't either, allowing Solgaleo to flip matchups it would typically get hard countered by, including both Kyogre and Groudon. With that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favourite surprise charge move you like to run in the Open Master League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we see Solgaleo into a Dragonite, so a pretty neutral lead matchup. Of course, we do resist the Dragon Breath damage, but they resist the Fire Spins as well, and they are non-stab, so they're really not going to do that much damage. But we go for a Psychic Fang straight away, debuffing their defense, and the opponent safe swaps into a Mewtwo. We bank a Psychic Fangs before swapping into our Xerneas, and we should live any one charge move here, so we do let the first one go through. It's a Shadow Ball, so not really sure why they go for Shadow Ball over the Side Strike. Perhaps they're running Shadow Ball and Focus Blast, but we're able to land the Moon Blast. We can now shield this up, and we will be able to maintain switch advantage here, and the opponent comes in with their Kyogre. Of course, can't really come back in with the Dragonite. We're going to go for another Moon Blast, and this should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, and it does, but they're able to get a massive Waterfall farm down. We're going to come in with the Haxorus here and just sponge the energy. Unless they're running Blizzard, we should tank this very easily, but it is the Blizzard. It one-shots the Haxorus, and now this is looking really bad for us. We're now going to go for a Psychic Fangs into the Dragonite straight away, and the opponent does go for a charge move. We are going to shield it up at the last second. They're actually running Hurricane, so perhaps not running Superpower, meaning we can overfarm massively, knowing a Dragon Claw isn't going to do an awful lot of damage. We go for the Psychic Fangs, taking out the Dragonite, and now we are close to the Solar Beam. They're probably thinking it's another Psychic Fangs, so we full send it, and we one-shot the Kyogre to take that game. So there, if the opponent knew we had Solar Beam, of course, they'd have shielded it, but they didn't, and were able to take them by surprise and take the game there, where, honestly, after landing the Blizzard, it was looking really bad for us. But here we need into another Dragonite. We let the Dragon Claw go through, calling the bait, and we go for a Psychic Fang straight away. We're now going to be able to go for another Psychic Fangs, but no, we actually go for the Overfarm instead. We're now going to shield. It is the Superpower, so good shield usage there. The opponent comes in with a Metagross. We're going to bank a Solar Beam before swapping into our Haxorus, and we're actually going to let the Meteor Mash go through. That does massive damage, and we won't quite make it to the Earthquake either. We have to settle for a Breaking Swipe. This is not ideal for us. It does debuff their attack, but it's not looking too good. We are going to come in with the Solgaleo here, go for a Psychic Fangs, hopefully grab a shield here, because this is double resisted damage. It will nowhere near take them out, but now we can shield this up and hopefully go for a full Fire Spin farm down. And let's see, the opponent swaps back into Dragonite, so we can come in with the Xerneas here, and we should be looking pretty good now. They go for a Superpower, debuffing their defense, and maybe we can go for a full Geomancy farm down, but no, gonna go for the Moonblast here, play it safe. Moonblast will be taking out the Dragonite, and the opponent's gonna come in with their Metagross here, so we can go for that close combat straight away, and this close combat will be taking out the Metagross. The opponent has a Mamoswine in the back, so we can go for another close combat. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and remember, we banked the Solar Beam, so we can come in with Solgaleo. Solar Beam one-shots the Mamoswine, and we take that game. Into the next game, another Dragonite in the lead, so you're seeing a lot of Dragonite leads so far. We are once again going to overfarm this time, go for a Psychic Fangs. The opponent also choosing to overfarm in this matchup. Psychic Fangs debuffs their defense. We go for a second Psychic Fangs straight away, and this will do a little bit more damage this time around, so the opponent actually uses a shield. We are going to see a shield at the last second. It is the Superpower, meaning we can tank the second one a lot more comfortably. The opponent is now going to be quad debuffed in their defense there, so we can overfarm, go for the Psychic Fangs, building up to the back-to-back Psychic Fangs here, and we do take out the Dragonite. The opponent's going to come in with a Groudon, and we're going to try go for the Solar Beam, but the opponent does make it to a Fire Punch. We're actually going to shield this up and go for the Solar Beam here. Is this opponent going to respect the damage here? No, they're not, and we one-shot yet another Pokemon with the Solar Beam, and this should be game over. Well, hopefully anyways. We have that close combat to hit for massive, super effective damage. We're going to overfarm in this matchup. Personally, I probably would have overfarmed a bit more here. I don't want to throw before they go for a rock slide because now we are debuffed. Can we live the rock slide here? Yes, we still live the rock slide, and now we can go for the close combat straight away. This will grab the final shield from the opponent. We still got a Haxorus in the back. They go for the farm down. That's pretty much their only win condition, but unfortunately for them, we make it to close combat number 3, taking out the Melmetal and taking that game. Into the next game, we see Garchomp in the lead, so not a great lead. Gonna say swap into the Haxorus, and the opponent comes in with a Dialga. So we are going to full send the Earthquake there. They should live a Breaking Swipe, but the opponent, unfortunately, they do shield that up. The safer play was obviously just to go for back-to-back Breaking Swipes, but they do farm us all the way down. We're now going to come back in with the Solgaleo, and we will tank the first charge move. The opponent full sends a Draco Meteor. It is resisted damage, but that does really chunk us. I think here we're going to have to shield once and then fully farm them down. So we do shield up the Iron Head, and we can go for the full Fire Spin farm down. We're going to swap into the Xerneas, and the opponent has a Melmetal in the back. So here, I do like this play, letting them throw the charge move first. The opponent goes for a Rock Slide, so probably not running double Iron Bash, otherwise you would definitely throw that. But we can now go for the Close Combat. Close Combat will be doing big damage or grabbing the shield, and here we should still live the rock side. We've seen it already, but we will actually shield it up, and we're now going to farm to the back-to-back close combats, actually farming to 100 energy. Close combat from this range doesn't take them out, but we win the CMP tie, and this will be enough damage to take out the Melmetal, and we're going to swap straight away into Solgaleo, go straight for the Solar Beam. Solar Beam does big damage, and we should be forcing the opponent to throw their energy, but they're not doing that, and now we do make it to the Psychic Fangs, and a couple more Fire Spins will be enough damage to take out the Garchomp. The opponent kind of had to farm to 100 energy there, and they weren't able to get there or get the farm down, so we take that game. But into the next game, we see a Ho-Oh in the lead, and that's probably the worst lead we could see because it does beat the Xerneas very handily as well. But here we swap into Haxorus. We do bait out the Dialga. We go for Breaking Swipe number 2. The opponent lets Dialga go down, but that might be worse because they come back in with the Ho-Oh, and we just can't do anything up against the Ho-Oh, especially when they do fully farm us down here, and they're going to have so much energy. So what the heck are we going to do? We're going to come in with the Xerneas, as we will be able to tank a Sacred Fire a little bit more comfortably than the Solgaleo. They go for it there. They don't get the debuff, which is fortunate for us. We're going to overfarm, and now we will shield here. They go for another Sacred Fire. We're going to go for 3 Geomancies before going for the Moonblast. Very good timing there. Moonblast grabs a shield from the Ho-Oh, and we make it to another Geomancy in time. And this should be dealing some decent damage to the Ho-Oh, but unfortunately they would be able to fully incinerate farm us down. So we swap into Solgaleo here, and we will be able to make it to the Psychic Fangs. Perhaps should have gone for one more Fire Spin there. Psychic Fangs grabs a final shield from the opponent. It's not looking too good for us here. The opponent goes for Sacred Fire. They don't quite take us out there, which is kind of surprising, but they've got a Groudon in the back, and there's nothing we can do here, unfortunately. They do outpace us to the charge move. Well, there's no point in throwing because no single one charge move would have taken out the Groudon there, so we do lose that game. But into the next game, we see Togekiss in the lead. The opponent safe swaps into Melmetal, and we've got Haxorus here. A great response. We're going to let the first move go through. It is the Rock Side. We're going to overfarm in this matchup here, and they will get to another Rock Side. This will get us very low, but we're still going to let it go through. Now we can go for a Breaking Swipe. This will debuff their attack, and the opponent does use a shield. We can go for a second Breaking Swipe, and we should be able to make it to a third if they do choose to shield in this matchup, which they do, and we also win the CMP tie, it looks like, as well. So Breaking Swipe will be taking out the Melmetal, so we just grab both shields and switch advantage there, which is kind of insane. We're now going to come back in with the Solgaleo, go for the Psychic Fangs, and this will be debuffing the Togekiss. The opponent lets it go through. Of course, they have no shields remaining. What am I talking about? But we're now going to shield up the charge move from the Togekiss. They are running Flamethrower, and now they swap into Kyogre. We actually don't go straight for the Solar Beam. I'm not sure why. Solar Beam does about 95% of their health, and I think this Kyogre is slightly under-leveled as well. But we can shield this up. They go for the Surf, and we will now easily be able to go for the Solar Beam, and this will be enough damage to take out the Kyogre. And now we're going to swap into our Xerneas just for the sake of it, and we will be able to make it to a Moonblast, and this will be enough damage from this range to take out the Togekiss, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we see another Dragonite in the lead, so we're going to stay in this lead matchup, of course, and we're going to go for a Psychic Fang straight away, so this will debuff their defense, of course. The opponent lets it go through, and they're staying in. We're able to swap and catch the move onto our Xerneas, which is amazing, because Superpower is resisted. We bait out a Ho-Oh, which is also great for us, because, of course, if that stayed in the back there and we didn't get it aligned to our Haxorus, then we'd be in big trouble. But here we're going to let this move go through probably, and it is the Sacred Fire. It takes out the Xerneas, but now we can come in with our Haxorus and we should be in a much better position. So we are going to shield this up, and the opponent is going to go for a Brave Bird. That does debuff their defense. Now we can overfarm massively in this matchup. Go for the Breaking Swipe just before they make it to the charge move. Very nice timing. Breaking Swipe grabs the shield, and we're actually going to commit a shield here and maybe go for the full counter farm down. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We come out with so much loaded energy. They come back in with the Dragonite. We've got so many Breaking Swipes loaded. We go for the first one. It doesn't quite take them out here, and we're able to swap and catch the Dragon Claw onto Solgaleo. Very nice catch. And what do they have in the back? They've got their own Haxorus. We can go for the Psychic Fang straight away. This will permanently debuff their defense. Well, actually, they did swap out into the Haxorus, so they've got a 2 HP Dragonite remaining, but we do actually live the Night Slash there, which is amazing. We can go for Psychic Fangs number 2, and hopefully we win the CMP tie in this matchup here, but it looks like we have a fully powered up Haxorus, and theirs isn't quite. Breaking Swipe takes out the Haxorus. A second Breaking Swipe will be enough damage to take out the Dragonite from this range, and we take that game. Into the next game, we see Melmetal into Solgaleo, so a fairly okay matchup here. Of course, the fire spins are super effective, but everything else will be resisted. The opponent goes for a resisted Rock Slide, not wanting to debuff their defense straight away, and then they make a catch into their Giratina, so very nice catch, but Psychic Fangs will debuff their defense. We're going to bank a ton of energy before swapping into Xerneas, and we also catch an Ominous Wind, which is nice because that really doesn't do an awful lot of damage, and luckily the opponent doesn't get the boost. We're now going to overfarm in this matchup here. We will be seeing a shield used, and it is the Shadow Ball, so good shield usage. We farm up nearly 100 energy, go for the Moonblast, and Moonblast does grab a shield from the opponent. We can now outpace them to the next charge move, and this Moonblast should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and it does. And at this point, I think we just let the Xerneas go down here. The opponent baits with an Ominous Wind, and that means they will have to throw another charge move to take us out. We're actually going to shield now, as we do now have the Moonblast loaded, but we're able to swap and catch the move onto Solgaleo. Really nice catch there. We can now overfarm, go for a Solar Beam into the Melmetal. This will be resisted damage, but Solar Beam does about 30% of their health. And we're going to see the opponent go for another Rock Slide, so maybe they're just not running Superpower. I'm not really sure, but we're able to farm them down. They come in with Kyogre. Unfortunately, we're not able to get to another Solar Beam, but we have the Haxorus, and hopefully this time around, this Kyogre isn't running Blizzard, because I don't think even with a Breaking Swipe debuff, we will be able to live a Blizzard, but the opponent clears the debuff. They swap back into Giratina. We're able to snipe with the Xerneas, and now it just all depends. Are they running Blizzard or not? They go for the charge move. No shields remaining, and it's just a Thunder, which we do resist, and now we can just go for the Breaking Swipe, and from this range it will be enough damage to take out the Kyogre after a little bit of lag, and we're able to take that game. So into the next game, we see Solgaleo into a Groudon now. There's no way they're expecting Solar Beam from this Solgaleo, so we're going to stay in this lead matchup. We will use a shield, and it is a Fire Punch bait, which is unfortunate, but we still make it to the Solar Beam in time. And is this opponent gonna respect the damage? No, of course they're not. They had no idea we're running Solar Beam, and now they come in with Lugia. Now this is a little bit tricky here, because Lugia does do quite well up against our Haxorus, but Xerneas does resist, well, double resist the Dragon Tails, so we're just going to stay in this lead matchup. Unfortunately, can only throw resisted charge moves into the Lugia, but we will debuff their defense, making it a lot more easy for our Xerneas to take them out. But they're probably just going to swap out, and they do exactly that, swapping into Rayquaza. But this is an absolutely amazing matchup for the Xerneas. We can let Breaking Swipe go through, really not going to do much damage whatsoever. It will, of course, debuff our attack, but that's absolutely fine with us. Moonblast will still be enough damage to take them out from this range. They don't farm up to the potential Hurricane or the Dragon Ascent, so we can safely no shield once again. This time we actually go for a close combat. I do not agree with this at all, as if they call it, then we're not looking to be in a great position, but we're going to go for the close combat. Remember, this is now triple debuffed, and the opponent does unfortunately call it, so yeah, I don't agree with that play. But now we go for the Moonblast, taking out the Rayquaza, and personally I would swap out before we throw any charge moves, because we are triple debuffed here. They go for a Sky Attack, grabbing our final shield, and we're actually going to go for the Moonblast. I don't agree with this because we are triple debuffed. It's not going to do much damage, but we do grab the shield, and we actually get an attack drop as well. That actually works out really, really good. They go for the Aeroblast, we barely live it, and then we don't go for a charge move. No. Is this Moonblast going to be enough damage? They got the boost as well. Moonblast doesn't quite take them out, but one more Geomancy does the job, and we barely take that game. But some very odd plays in that game, but just barely able to take it. Into next game, we see a Ho-Oh here. We're going to swap into Haxorus, go for the Breaking Swipe on the CMP tie with this Ho-Oh, and we do see the Breaking Swipe does connect. It doesn't do an awful lot of damage. They full send the Brave Bird, and they swap into a Zekrom. So this is not great. We don't have a response to their Ho-Oh anymore, and we're going to come in with the Xerneas. Unfortunately, a Fusion Bolt or a Wild Charge will do quite a lot of damage, so we will shield it up, but we can now significantly overfarm in this matchup, go for a Moonblast, and from this range it will be enough damage to take out the Zekrom. So the opponent's probably going to come back in with their Ho-Oh, so we actually swap into our Solgaleo here, just because we can at least deal neutral damage. Of course, they're dealing super effective damage towards us with these Incinerates, but we will be able to chunk this Ho-Oh a lot more than if we were running the Xerneas here. They go for a Sacred Fire, they don't get the attack drop, which is fortunate for us, and once again going for 3 Fire Spins before going for a Psychic Fangs. That is the correct timing here, so nice play by this trainer. We're now going to unfortunately just barely be outpaced to the next charge move. They go for a Brave Bird there, which is a strange play. We're going to farm here. We won't quite make it to the back-to-back close combats before they get to an Avalanche. It doesn't take us out, but it doesn't really matter. The Ho-Oh is too healthy where they will be able to take us out with an Incinerate. Well, actually 2 Incinerates, but it doesn't matter. They've still got a shield remaining. They can shield this up, and unfortunately we do lose that game, but we made it fairly close, so not bad there. Like I said, Ho-Oh probably the worst thing for this team to see, especially in the lead. But here the opponent safe swaps into a Swampert. I was hoping we'd see a Solar Beam landing, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. We swap and we catch an Earthquake, which Haxorus doesn't tank that well, to be completely honest. We're now going to have to shield up a Hydro Cannon. We're now going to overfarm, farming to the back-to-back Breaking Swipes before throwing our energy, and Breaking Swipe won't quite take them out there. We have to throw the second one as they were at the next charge move already, and Breaking Swipe does take out the Swampert. We are now going to come back in with the Solgaleo, and there's no way they shield this. They would be able to resist the Iron Head or the Flamethrower, the typical big moves, but Solar Beam does so much damage to the Gyarados. We're going to let this move go through, and the opponent does full send the Crunch, but honestly that doesn't do that much damage there. And then they swap and catch the move onto Dragonite. Absolutely fine. Looks like Xerneas will be able to sweep this game, even down a shield, because we just completely wall this Dragonite, and also the Gyarados is very low. They go for Dragon Claw, does absolutely nothing there. We can farm to 100 energy. We unfortunately lose the CMP tie here, but they go for another Dragon Claw, just doesn't do anything. I think the opponent should probably just concede the match right now, but they're probably going to try and stall the clock as much as possible and swap back into the Gyarados, but we can safely let the next move go through once again. Dragon Claw going to do very little damage. They do manage to swap out into the Gyarados. We can go for the Moonblast. We're going to fully undercharge it here, and we might as well shield this, as this will be the biggest dealing damage move here, and we are able to fully Geomancy, farm them down, go for a Moonblast. No, we're actually going to go for a close combat BM. We even have 2 loaded just in case this doesn't KO, but it does. We're able to take out the Dragonite and take that game. Into the next game, we see Gyarados in the lead, so going to stay in this lead matchup and once again hopefully land a Solar Beam, but no, going to go for a Psychic Fangs here, throwing just before they make it to the Crunch. The opponent lets it go through. It's actually a CMP tie, which we do win with the Solgaleo. We shoot up the Crunch there, no debuff, which is nice for us. We're now going to overfarm, go for another Psychic Fangs, and this might grab a shield here from the opponent, and it does grab the shield. We should be able to live a Crunch quite comfortably. We've seen it already in the previous battle. Crunch doesn't really do that much damage. They do do get the defense drop this time around, but we can overfarm, and then we swap and we catch perfectly onto the Xerneas. Amazing catch there by Wind Regalia too, and we bait out a Mamoswine as well. We can live an avalanche. This is not a shadow Mamoswine, and we will be able to make it to the back-to-back close combats here. Gonna throw just before they make it to the next avalanche, and close combat will be grabbing a shield from the opponent. We make it to close combat number 2, and the opponent is going to see the close combat one-shot the Mamoswine. And now we are going to come back in with, actually no, we come in with the Haxorus here. Going to go for the farm down. We might use a shield. We do use the shield. And the opponent goes for a crunch. And what do they have in the back? It's a Machamp. And we can go straight for the Earthquake. An Earthquake will be enough damage to one-shot the Machamp. And we're able to Fire Spin, farm down the Gyarados, and take that game. Into next game, we see a Groudon in the lead, so going to stay in this lead matchup, and once again, there's just no way they expect a Solar Beam from a Solgaleo, so they go for Precipice Blades that would easily one-shot us, but we make it to the Solar Beam. And speaking of one-shotting opponents, Solar Beam takes out the Groudon, and they come in with a Giratina. Now we are down a shield, we're just going to stay in this matchup here. We actually go for 5 Fire Spins, which is quite risky as they would outpace us to the Shadow Ball, but the opponent is happy to overfarm massively. An Ominous Wind from this range will be enough to take us out, which is unfortunate, but now we can come in with our Xerneas, and the opponent sorts into a Lugia. So we are going to be double resisting these Dragon Tails, but if they go for Aeroblast, that will do a ton of damage towards us. Unfortunately, no attack drop with the Moonblast this time around. We are going to shield, and it is the Aeroblast, but once again, the Lugia getting the attack boost with the Aeroblast. That is insane and really bad for us. We are going to stay in this matchup, go for a Moonblast, and it looks like a CMP tie as well with this Lugia. We take them out, the opponent fully sacrificing the Lugia. That might cost them here. We're going to see a charge move coming through. Shadow Ball doesn't quite take us out, and we will make it to the Moonblast. This will grab the first shield from the opponent, unless they're just choosing to no shield flex. But we also CMP tie, which is perfect. Best case scenario. They go for Ominous Wind, and now it's all up to Haxorus. We should be going for Breaking Swipe straight away, but we overfarm. I don't know why, because now Shadow Ball isn't going to be debuffed, and that does a ton of damage, but we do make it to back-to-back Breaking Swipes in time. The first one grabs the shield, the second Breaking Swipe will be enough damage to take out the Giratina, and we are barely able to take that game. Into the next game, we see Kyogre in the lead, so we are going to stay in this lead matchup here. And the opponent is going to let us reach the Solar Beam in time. Are they going to respect the damage? No, and we one-shot the Kyogre. That's absolutely insane. The opponent's going to come in with a Zacian, and we can unfortunately lose the CMP tie up against the Zacian, so we will actually shield the play rough here. We're going to go for that Psychic Fangs, and we should be throwing the second Psychic Fangs straight away, as they did go for the harder hitting charge move, and we do go for the Psychic Fangs straight away. Now they will be double debuffed, and the opponent will let the next one go through. They're going to overfarm massively here before eventually going for a charge move, and the opponent goes for another play rough. They don't want to reveal their second charge move. We're going to come in with our Xerneas. It is a battle of the spammy fairies here in the Master League. They go for another play rough, and we unfortunately lose the CMP tie here. We go for a close combat, and we undercharge it there, but the opponent shields anyways. Unfortunately, getting low battery. They've got a double fairy backline, and this is not looking good for the Haxorus. We go for the Moonblast, and we're going to swap and catch the charge move onto our Haxorus. The opponent full sends the Moonblast, one-shotting the Haxorus, which is unfortunate. We're going to have to overfarm, and once again, we lose the CMP tie. That is so unfortunate. We do have 15 attack. They go for a close combat, and now it's not looking too good. I think this Zacian does have a little bit of energy, and they do barely outpace us to the charge move, and from this range, Wild Charge takes out the Xerneas, and we do lose that game. But into the final battle, we see another Zacian, so hopefully we can get some revenge up against this Zacian, because it did cause us a lot of problems in that last game. We're going to let the first charge move go through. No, shield it at the last second. It is the close combat, and we are going to go and unfortunately lose the CMP tie once again, but they go for another close combat, so this Psychic Fangs will almost definitely get shielded, because it could be an Iron Head, and we do see a shield from the opponent. They come in with a Dragonite. We're going to overfarm and swap and try to catch. We make the catch onto our Xerneas, xerneas. The opponent goes for superpower, debuffing their defense, and honestly, superpower doesn't do an awful lot more damage than the Dragon Claw. Both moves are going to be resisted. We are a complete wall to Dragonite unless they're running Hurricane, which they actually are. They're running superpower and Hurricane. Oh my gosh. But we do actually land the Moonblast, taking out the Dragonite. And the opponent going to come back in with the Zacian. We're going to go for a Moonblast here. Accidentally nearly tapped on that close combat, but luckily we do get off the Moonblast. Can they get the farm down here? We don't commit to the Moonblast. I think this might be a mistake because the opponent lets it go through. We did live that Snarl as well, so yeah, definite mistake there. But we're going to come back in with the Solgaleo. We do lose the CMP tie, which is unfortunate, so we're going to have to use another shield. They go for the Wild Charge. We're going to go for that Psychic Fangs. Is this enough to take them out? It is enough because they debuff their defense, and they come in with a Mewtwo. We barely make it to the Solar Beam, and Solar Beam is going to be doing big damage to the Mewtwo. We're going to stay in, force them to throw their energy, and from this range we should be able to counter farm them down. I think even an Ice Punch, oh sorry, not Ice Punch, Ice Beam wouldn't quite take us out, but we're able to get the farm down and take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, first of all, subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, but also go and check out WinRegalia's channel, as you will be able to see a lot more battles like this on his channel. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.